Well, hello there, YouTube. How's it going? This is Charlie Barley. Hope you guys are having good start to the new year. And so I thank you so much for a lot of the kind emails that I continue to receive from people who have supported me over the last, I say, 3 years or so since I've been doing this. And been having a lot of recent success. And this video, I'm not going to have, not going to be too long. I'm going to talk about when buying strategies, do these three things. Now, this is a little different than the fundamentals video that I published, I think maybe right before the beginning of the year. But so this is a little different because there's people, and I know some folks, I guess, maybe you got some extra tax money, and a few people have bought some of the systems, but a lot of the questions I still get. So what I'm going to do is just go over three things you need to think about when you're buying strategies, and even think about when you're buying anyone else's strategy. Okay, so and when you think about strategies, you really need to dissect them to make sure that they are legit. But before I get into that, I just want to bring about a couple things. I have actually a couple new strategies that's coming up. As you guys know, I'm exiting from the mentorship program, and what's cool is that I do have not quite a few, but a few students who are doing really well. Unfortunately, I've experienced a lot of different things with that program, and it's not that stuff doesn't work. It's maybe so the people. You can't expect for. It's like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett made $1 billion trading stocks or selling, doing stocks. Doesn't mean everybody who does the same thing is going to make $1 billion. Certain people have a certain mentality. Most of the time we get in our way. I have a couple interviews from some of the students because it's going to help. It's going to help even if you're not a student. It's still going to help you because it's a mindset that you have to change. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing about being successful with roulette is truly understanding the concept of time and money. And patience is part of the strategy because the variables are what they are. They're very constant. Like you're talking about trading $1 with constant variables that they change, but they don't increase or decrease. And if you guys truly understood that, wow, you know what I mean? So anyway, that's all coming. So like I said, I got a new strategy that I'm going to be putting out, and it's actually a guaranteed strategy too. The only thing you have to do is follow the steps. Do as I say, period. That's it. Just follow what I say, period. And what's also cool is that for people who were interested in team play, I'm going to teach the strategy from a perspective of team play, and you can create your own teams and do your own things. All right. But team play is much different than strategic play. It's a guaranteed strategy. So it's kind of going to be replacing the concept of mentorship. But what I'll do in the strategy is give you the numbers, and the system will be very rigid. The only thing is that the strategy does require progressions. It's not a flat bet. But the cool thing about the progression is that it's all laced in mathematics and statistical values, which is like one of the three things I'm going to talk about in a second. So, the thing about the mentorship program is that I teach things from a perspective of flat bet, right? Of which time is your weapon when you are doing that. But a lot of people don't like to spend the time or even don't have the time. But at the same time, they have issues with progressions because if you tell people to do 2 progressions, they'll do 20. And then they'll come back and say, okay, it doesn't work. Well, why doesn't it work, Bill? I lost it because, I did 50. And I have so many emails like that when people, and the thing is, it's not that everybody's bad. It's just that, a lot of people are really honest. It's just that I understand we are conditioned. We are conditioned to work for a living. We feel like we have to always be doing something to win. You know, patience is a virtue for a reason because it pays. You don't even lose money in being patient. You know, but that's one of the things that if you can master the art of self-discipline and patience, this can be a career for you. Totally. I mean, it's undisputable why it could not be. The same type of patterns repeat themselves. I mean, it's just really blatant. It's just really, the only thing you have to understand is the concept of permutations, the frequency, which is, I might actually get into that right now. So let's just go here. When buying strategies, do these three things. Oh, before I say this too, before I forget, I think I was talking about team play. So I had mentioned something about software. I get a lot of emails asking me about team play, the live version. The strategy that I'm building now, I'm going to try and do that where you can create your own team and do your own thing. You just may have to pay for it up front, but it will be a guaranteed thing. Like, the numbers will not lie to you. Like, you can go through it. You can look at the numbers and scour through hundreds. And as a matter of fact, I have one of my students who's been studying it. And I'm going to do an interview with him sooner or later. And we're going to talk about how it works and how the numbers do not lie. So that way I don't have to rely on, quote unquote, the market to do team play, because time is money. So if I'm spending time, like I used to do team play, and then people would even pay like upfront. I had like a little fee, like you pay $20 to get in. And then what I was looking forward to was people paying me a tip, right? So, but what the problem was, people paid $20 to get in, but they never, half of them didn't even show up to the actual game. You know, so you can't do that. And the thing is, I had 100% win rate, 100% win rate when I did team play. We never lost, never one time lost. All right. So anyway, so you don't have to continue to email me about the team play stuff. Just continue to check the channel for any type of updates as it concerns team play or the new software. Okay. Now, let's do these three things when buying strategies. Number one, when you get a strategy from me, and like I said, God bless all those who tax season and you've got a couple bucks to want to invest into something that's sound. Let me give you some things you need to think about before you start to play. Now, I did a fundamentals video that talked about how to play, but this is not fundamentals. This is something that you need to kind of have before you even start getting into it. Okay, you need to kind of do your due diligence to a degree, and then ultimately you're going to have to build consistency. But these are more, high level things. The fundamentals videos was talking a little bit detailed in terms of how to practice and how to go about units and stuff like that. So if you want to look at that video, that's also on my channel. Now, number one, when you get the strategies, don't just start playing it. Don't just look at the video and then just instantly go off and play. Okay. Take the time to study and practice, because confidence is built through knowledge. Okay. Confidence is built through knowledge. Confidence is built through knowledge. You know, the difference between me and the lion tamer is that the lion tamer has knowledge of the lion. And so he can go into the lion's pit. He may not get bit. I'll go into the same pit because I don't have knowledge, and I'll get ate alive. Knowledge brings confidence. Okay, so study and practice the strategies. All right. Watch live games. Look at live games. Compare the strategy to a lot of live games. All right. Number two, discover and know the difference of the thresholds and the average frequency. What I mean by that is that every strategy has a particular threshold in terms of what will happen, the worst case scenario, if you should lose, right? And you need to know how often the strategy would lose, because that's going to tell you the sweet spot in which you should play. All right. So the strategies, there's no strategy that does not lose. That's one thing. And if you think that you're going to ever do anything strategically and not take a loss anywhere, that doesn't exist on planet Earth. Nowhere does it. It doesn't exist in the game of roulette, the game of life, or in business or anything. So get out of Wonderland. Maybe that should be the fourth thing. Get out of this fairy tale of thinking that it's just going to magically happen. There's nothing like that does. This is all based in the process of variables, and time. Okay. It's all based in that. So when you understand permutations and you understand limited variables, then there's only a matter of time because these patterns consistently repeat. So the strategies that I have particularly are all about mostly built-in permutation. Everything's permutations. It's just how it's taught. And I think a lot of people have strategies that they're taught, but not from a perspective of more in-depth knowledge of the game itself. So watch live games, compare the strategies to live games, look at how often you win in terms of time, the frequency, and what's the maximum threshold that you could lose. Like how often, if the strategy is about a repeating whatever, I don't know, how often does that happen? And then that way you'll know how much you should play so you don't overplay your budget. You can't come, like one of my students was like, hey, I want to play $300 minimums. And I'm like, that's fine, but you only have a $1,500 bankroll. So to get to the $300 minimum, you're going to have to, which is number 3, build consistency. Building consistency based on the thresholds and the expected average frequency rate, and then grow over time, but do it consistently. Okay, so the strategies are they can all win for you, but you're going to have some self-discipline, a lot of it actually. Okay, so that's what I think the 3 things you need to do when you're buying strategies. Because again, I get emails about, a lot of different questions about the strategy, but that could easily be answered if you, number 1, studied and practiced it. Okay. Number 2, if you just looked at the fact of when you're doing any type of business, you always want to know the likelihood of getting customers, the percentage of the opportunities that you're going to be able to close that deal. What's the chance, right? And then you need to know what are the thresholds that it won't happen. And then you create a budget around that. So, but if you don't know these risk factors, which is what I preach about a lot, you're just going to be doomed for failure anyway. But you're not going to know the risk until you do, number 1, study and practice it. All right. So the website, I didn't write that up here, but it's permutations, www.permutationspro.com. You can email me at permutationspro@gmail.com. Just remember, because there's a few people who are, and I thank you guys for buying it and continuing to believe in me despite the trolls. Okay, because there are a few people who, since I've been on, that continue to troll, and it's okay. I get it. Listen, there's a reason for a up and there's a down, there's a left, there's a right, there's an in, there's an out. It's called polarity. Okay, I remember talking about. I was looking at this video of a Down syndrome kid, and I never will forget one of my life stories. If I ever write a book, I'm going to write about what happened to me with a Down syndrome kid, how he actually saved my life. And but I remember looking at a video of this kid. He was a Down syndrome kid, and he was playing the violin. Like the kid was really, really playing the hell out of the violin, right? And don't you know, even that video received a number of different dislikes, right? So understand this, when you're looking at stuff like this, if you're going by just that, then it's a mentality. You've got to shift the way you think. You've got to retrain your thoughts, right? It's a mentality. It really is. We were born into a world that forces us to think very differently about how we spend our time and how we make our money. We often think we have to work for a living. You don't have to work. You have to think. The author said, think and grow rich, not work and grow rich. Think, and grow rich. The grow part means, number 3, build consistency. Grow. It's not going to happen overnight. These are the studies and the habits of successful and wealthy people. The only thing we're doing in roulette is just shrinking down the risk variables because they're consistent. Everything else is up to you. Most people who go to the casino win, but most people lose because they stay too long. But most people, when they go, they win. So it's all about your discipline. All right. Anyway, guys, if you want the strategies, permutationspro@gmail.com. You can email me again at permutationspro.com. The website may not be updated. I'm going to try and get that updated now. The bundle package is still what it is. It might say something about Christmas, but I got to go update the site. So forgive me on that. The new stuff that I'm going to be coming out with, give me maybe a couple weeks on that. All right. I just got to do the video. And the thing about it is that I can't show it to you. So that's another thing. I'm going to talk about it. I may do an interview about it, but I can't show it to you. It's the only thing is that I can't show it to you. But so I won't be playing it. But if you want to take me up on it, please do, because I am not here to lie to you. All right. And but anyway, so here's one thing, last one thing I want to talk about in terms of consistency. This is one of my students, guys. This is what I mean when I say consistent. He's really new, but he stays very humbled guy. But if you can see, he's always winning. He's always winning, always winning. And that's what happens when you study, you follow, and you get yourself out of the way. You're going to have a lot of success. Okay? So don't listen to the naysayers or even yourself who think you can't do it. There are people who are doing it, and they're very consistent. And that guy was new. Only reason I kind of pushed it back because I don't want to put his email out there. But he's new. Okay? So build consistency. This can be done, folks. I swear to God, it can be done. It's not even that it can be done. It's being done. All right. So if 2020, man, don't lose money out here being overzealous, trying to do too much. And I'm talking to some of my students. Don't try and do too much. You really don't have to do too much, but you need to study and think about what it is that you do. Okay, look at the thresholds, the frequency rate, and you're going to fall within that. Okay, most of the strategies have a very high percentage win rate, but because it's permutations built, and because it's just based on a permutation, not the nature of the game according to like how I would teach it in like a mentor class. That's one of the reasons you can't play it for long periods of time, because you don't know where you are in the permutative cycle of the game itself. Now, if that doesn't make any sense, you need to study. You need to think about what it is that you're doing. If you're here to just get a strategy, just to try to click and win, that works for a little while until it stops working. And then when it stops working, you don't know why it stopped, because you don't understand. You haven't really studied it. All right. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for supporting me again. We're going to look forward to a great 2020, and I'm really excited. 19 was every year has been good for the last 2 or 3 years. You know, we have our ups and downs and our bumps. And I just say this: stay consistent. Whoever is on my team, if you stay consistent with me, I stay consistent with you. Period. That's just how it works. But what I don't do is waste time. All right. So anyway, guys, permutationspro@gmail.com. You can email me for anything, or you can, if you want a strategy, I got some new stuff coming out, and the one strategy that I say it's a guarantee strategy, it's going to be kind of a replacement of the program. And I'm going to also teach you how to get a team and how to build and grow money as a team. I'm going to lay down the numbers and everything for you. All right. It's going to be laid out. Right. And I'll even guarantee it. It's 100% mathematically proven over and over again, and over thousands of spins. One of my students who's actually been working on it. We're going to have a live interview with him, and maybe a couple other people too. So today, stay tuned to the channel for more information and for more updates. Until the next time, folks, take care.